Recently, Navi has made some roster changes, and this comes because JL has decided to bench himself from the starting lineup, and in place, Makazze has been brought up from the Navi Junior roster to take his spot. And this move really does come as a shock because JL was their second highest rated player coming out of the major. So in this video, I want to talk about if I think Makazze will be able to fill his shoes, and then we'll talk about if I think that JL made the right choice for Navi, and we'll get to that right after a quick word from Skins Monkey. This is a trade site that allows you to take some of the old and crusty skins out of your inventory, and you can actually trade them in for something a little bit new, a little bit shinier than what you have right now. And it's really easy to do this, actually. All you need to do is log in through Steam, pick the skins that you don't want to use anymore, grab the ones that you do, and then click trade. All trades will pretty much happen immediately, and any balance that you don't use in your trade actually stays on the site for you to use for any future trades that you decide to do. And right now, if you use the link in the description, you can actually get a 35% deposit bonus, and that's good for up to $100. So let's say you deposit $100, you would actually get $135 on the site if you use my link. So make sure you check out Skins Monkey, and let's hop right back into the video. Now, it's no secret that Navi has been struggling over the course of the end of last year as well as the beginning of this one. However, I don't really know if we can point our finger at any individual, and Blade would seem to agree with me because, like he said in his interview, he said even if we remove somebody, it won't be because they let us down. And when you look at the games that they're playing, you actually can see pretty clearly that there isn't a single person that just stands out as a problem in the team. And when we're looking at players to replace, JL actually isn't even one of the people that I would even made a case for, but that's because, again, he is one of their best performers. Even in this match that we're watching now, JL dropped 30 kills and had an almost 2 rating, and this was at the major. Now, when faced with an impossible decision almost to pick a player to replace, they were still looking for replacements, and in JL's video, which we'll reference a few times throughout this next section, he basically says that Navi had been looking at replacements, and he knew that they were looking for replacements at that time, not necessarily for him, but since they were looking for a new player, he is the one that volunteered to step down, and he says it's just because he wasn't happy competing for reasons of his own. Now, I think this is actually an important time to talk about something in esports that doesn't get talked about enough, which is burnout. There's a real factor here when you're playing in esports or any highly competitive game, even if you just work a regular job, where if you spend so much time consumed in what you're doing, you actually forget to live your life a little bit, and it starts to affect your mental health in a negative way. Now, I think that you should go watch JL's video so you can get a full idea as to what he's talking about, but in general, I do think that it is the right decision for JL to bench himself if he thinks that competing is taking away from his life in any way or his mental health, because we do need to be prioritizing that over everything else, and so do you if you're watching this video. If you're struggling at all, please reach out and talk to someone because it will get better. So now that we've established all of that, let's talk about how Makazze is going to be able to take JL's spot. Now, they don't actually have a lot of role overlap. They only play 2 of the same spots, that being Cat on Mirage and B on Inferno for the CT side. And one of the things that I noticed is that they actually do play very similar in their spots, because look at how JL is playing against the Eco. He's in their face and he's jumping around, taking these fights. But when we look at Makazze, you can see a very similar approach to how he's playing here. He's getting in their face in towards short. They don't want to give these pistols any room to breathe, and he's even taking the same engagements that JL was taking. Now, this is just against the Eco, so you can't really look at too much, but in general, watching them one-to-one, it's actually kind of hard to tell the difference if I were to remove the name tag, which I think is a great sign going forward for Navi. But the only thing that I'm really concerned about is taking somebody who's dominating in tier 2 in the star rifle positions like outside on Nuke, and then making them play probably new positions on the main roster. That's the only thing that would concern me, but either way, we'll look at some more comparisons between JL and Makazze as the review goes on. But let's talk about what JL is doing here. So he starts the round by smoking connector for his teammate. Now, in general, this is something that you do as the Cat player because you don't actually need your smoke for anything. Smoking off Cat is kind of newbie because you're just going to force him to go con anyway, so you might as well just smoke off con so that your con player can help you if they decide to come up on you. Now, once he's thrown his smoke, he's gone into ladder because in general, you don't actually need your smoke if you're in ladder, because what are you going to smoke off? So he's going to be able to see if anybody boosts in towards window. He can even jump out onto the bricks here and stop people from going con in the off angle. But once he recognizes that the con split is coming in with this deep molly that's about to land, he sees the molly and he knows that it landed past him. The molly is actually not going to stop him from peeking like G2 thinks it will. So once he sees that, he's not going to hesitate. He's going to peek out and he catches Hades off guard. Now after that, he's going to help his teammate fight from connector. And again, this is exactly what you want to see from somebody playing cat, somebody who knows what fights to take and when to take them. Now, round number 6 is actually my favorite round when it comes to showing how good JL is at playing cat. So look at what he does here. He's going to smoke off connector like I said before, but look at the setup for Navi. They're actually not playing in mid at all, and it is just JL going to be basically solo in mid because Ima is also helping him, but he's also more responsible for helping A. So JL is trying to get info while he's by himself, and he's going to be crossing here in towards ladder, but he's going to spot Snacks. Now, a lot of things happen based off of this engagement. He's not going to shoot Snacks, but he sees him holding a grenade out, and that means a lot of things. What it means is that somebody could be creeping up in Valley to go connector. It means that we already have somebody crossed, so that means somebody could be cat. Since he sees somebody with a grenade out, he could be getting flash to come up cat. There's a lot of options that could be happening here. They could be boosting window, and once JL sees that, he realizes that since he's alone, he needs to back up. This is a really smart play, but not only is he backing up, he's warning Ima that they could be boosting window. And so Ima, you can see, will come back to check this based off of JL's call, and he's going to get the kill. But it's actually bigger than that, because not only do we have a 5-on-4, but now we know that there's 2 more in mid, because we saw Snacks top mid and somebody boosted him window. So off of that, Alexi or JL, I'm not sure who, is going to call for a mid reclear, because it's typically something that happens on T-side Mirage. Once this happens, we have somebody lurking in towards underpass, and then they'll regroup to hit a site. Whether that be B or A, it doesn't matter, because Alexi has blocked off B so they don't lose their timing, and we have 2 players on A. So it really doesn't matter what site they hit. We need to find this lurker. So look at what Navi does. They're all going to group up here, and they're going to peek mid. JL is leading the charge, Alexi's ready to trade, and Ima's also ready to trade, and so is Bit. It's just a beautiful round in general. They're going to catch mobs on the lurk here, a jumping kill, of course, and then after that, you see, they're going to be able to rotate in and stop the hit. They're just in time, and JL is going to swing in towards top stairs so he can get a second kill. Overall, this round is beautiful, and you can even tell that JL is basically the one that's orchestrating the entire team. Now, when faced with a similar-ish round, Makazze is not going to be as methodical. He's not going to be worried about the underpass lurker, and yes, there is time, even though it's 138. There could be somebody here lurking in underpass. There also could be somebody edging behind this top mid smoke, and that top mid molly is not going to stop this kind of fight from coming in to deny the rotate. And he's a little bit less disciplined than JL. He acknowledges it, but he doesn't actually worry that much about it, and instead he's just going to swing in here to help his teammates, which there's nothing wrong with this, but again, it's not as methodical as JL, but he will still take very similar engagements because he will also peek top stairs just like JL did in the last round. A lot of things that he's doing as the cat player when he rotates in, and I think that he can learn to be more disciplined in the current Navi system, so I wouldn't be worried too much about it. Now, admittedly, Navi Jr. doesn't have that many games of Mirage, and so it was hard to find direct one-to-one rounds between the two, but one thing that I can say with confidence is that Makazze does not have any rounds like this. Now, we have a very chaotic mid default from G2, and if you look at this from JL's perspective, he sees a connector smoke as well as a ladder room smoke, and if you're looking at it from his perspective, obviously they're coming cat. Now, they're smoking ladder off because before JL played in ladder and they mollied cat, if you remember the round before, and G2 does, so that's why they smoke it. Now, one of the things you can do whenever you know a cat split is coming your way is you can fall back. Maybe you play a crossfire with your teammate, get right, or maybe this off angle here, but no, JL knows that he wants to make the play here, so he's just going to swing out, he's going to catch Snacks off guard, and then he's going to sneak into the smoke that they threw in towards ladder. Now, this is something that Hunter would never expect because he just lost a teammate to the cat player, somebody who was cat, and he knows ladder smoke, no way he'd go through it. He did, and now after that, JL knows that there could be somebody on his backside, so he's going to phase the smoke because he never actually saw if anybody was behind Snacks after he got that kill. And once he knows that everything is clear, he tells his teammates to be careful. It's Bit to make the next play, and he's actually going to go down to Mobs. But one of the things that you have to remember is that Mobs was the guy that JL killed in underpass earlier, which means that he's the B defaulter. So if anybody were to have gone out B in all the chaos, it would have been Mobs. But since Mobs is in connector, you can kind of paint the picture that nobody's on B. So JL will come out mid looking for Mobs, knowing that there's probably nobody to be worried about. And so once he sees nobody is in connector and he warns Alexi that they could be up on him, he realizes that Heavy God hasn't been spotted. Heavy God is somebody that either floats mid or he lurks A, so there's a pretty good chance that he could be mid working with Mobs, and so he catches him off guard here, and now there's no time and the bomb is down. He knows Mobs was last spotted in connector. He's just making it very uncomfortable for him. He knows that he could have even wrapped around market. Here's him jumping in towards a ladder room, and he just picks a nice angle to secure the 4K. And you can see the entire time here how JL is reading the other team and how he's putting it all together. And having a read like this on the game is something that Navi was very reliant on last year when they won the Major and ESL Pro League. We did a couple of demo reviews back then. You can go back and watch them, where I talked about how dominant JL was and how reliant Navi was on him to have these pop-off moments where he would just take over a game. And I worry that bringing in Makazze, they might not have the same star power as JL brought to the team. Now, direct player comparisons are almost never easy because you can't just look at somebody and go, yes, he will be good, because the intangibles, we don't know what JL brings to the team. We know he's a funny, charismatic guy. When somebody sprays graffitis, he also sprays back because he knows it's Fulico. He's not actually worried. He's probably telling jokes, keeping the mood light, and those kinds of things do actually matter when you're playing a stressful game. And with Makazze not having a lot of tier 1 experience, actually none, we don't really know how that's going to play a factor. But all that being said, I do think that there is a lot of potential bringing somebody like Makazze into the team. I'm just really sad that it's for JL, because I felt like JL had more trophies to lift and just more to do with Navi in general, but it's okay. I think that things will be fine with Makazze. I just worry that they won't have the same star power, like I said earlier. But with all that being said, I am still really excited to see how Navi do this upcoming Cologne, and we will be covering Makazze's first game when he plays. And in case you're wondering why I'm not just doing a full demo review of like Makazze or Zwei or even Kyosuke, it's because I want to watch their first game in tier 1 and see how they do then, because if we just do them stomping noobs in tier 2, well, that's really not going to be any good content. I want to see how they play in tier 1. But with all that being said, let me know in the comments below what you guys think about Navi Makazze, and tell me who you guys want me to review next. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys like, subscribe to the channel, and one final message to Mr. JL, if you did watch this review, because I know you told me in the past that you watch them, I really hope that you enjoy your time away because you deserve it. And for everybody else, I hope I see you guys very, very soon in the next video, and much love as always.